my dears, picture this. It was a rainy Tuesday evening in our little town of Willow Creek, Ohio. My son Tommy stood right there at my front door, his face all twisted up like he'd swallowed a lemon. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Mom, this house is no longer yours. You need to leave right now." I felt my heart drop clean into my slippers. After everything I'd been through, the grief, the loss, how could he? I thought that was the end of my world. But wait, sweethearts. You won't believe what happened next. This is my true story, from heartbreak to a $68 million miracle, and the betrayal that almost broke me forever. Stick close. It's gonna change how you look at family. Let me take you back a little ways. I'm Auntie May, 78 years young now, but life used to be so much simpler here on Elm Street. My Harold, God rest his sweet soul, and I built this little house with our own two hands. We raised our two babies here. Tommy, my strong-willed boy, and our gentle Sarah, who flew off to California years ago. Harold worked the mill. I taught third grade. We saved every nickel. No big trips, just Sunday picnics by the river and potluck after church. Then 5 years ago, the grief hit like a freight train. Harold got sick. Cancer. I nursed him day and night, held his hand while he whispered, "May, promise me you'll be all right." He slipped away quiet in our own bed, and just like that, the light went out of my days. I was lost, wandering empty rooms, talking to his empty chair. Tawny came by now and then, but he was busy in the city with his job. His wife, Vanessa, oh, she wore the sweetest smile at the funeral, but I caught the way her eyes kept counting. Sarah sent flowers from the coast, but flowers don't hug you back. I truly thought I'd just fade away in this house, until one rainy afternoon, I found something that turned everything upside down. I was cleaning out Harold's old roll-top desk, wiping dust off papers older than our kids, when my fingers brushed a yellowed envelope with my name on it in his handwriting. My hands started shaking before I even broke the seal. Inside was a letter he'd written the week before he left me. "My dearest May," it began. "I've kept something from you all these years, for your own good." He confessed that every extra dollar from the mill, every overtime check, every Christmas bonus, he'd been quietly investing in a little startup company nobody believed in. By the time he wrote that letter, our tiny nest egg had grown into $68 million. $68 million. Me, little school teacher May from Willow Creek, a secret millionaire. He'd locked it all in a trust so I'd never want, and so the children would be cared for after I was gone. I sat right down on the kitchen floor and cried like a baby, half joy, half mad that he never told me. I called our family lawyer, Mr. Jenkins, down on Main Street. He came over that same night, read the letter, looked over his glasses and said, "Soft as you please. May, it's all real. The money is yours to live on right now." I was floating. I pictured fixing the porch, flying to see Sarah's grandbabies, maybe even seeing the ocean for the first time. I couldn't wait to tell Tommy. I drove over the next morning. When I said the number, $68 million? His mouth actually fell open. Then he grabbed me in the biggest bear hug. Vanessa was right there, baking cookies like always, eyes shining brighter than the oven light. "Oh, May, this is a blessing," she kept saying. And then, real casual, "So when do we get the account numbers?" I laughed it off. Family, right? We had a big celebration dinner that weekend. I wrote Tommy a check for $50,000 on the spot. "Go start that business you always talked about, honey." Everybody was smiling, clinking glasses. But something felt a tiny bit off. I just couldn't put my finger on it. Then, exactly 9 days later, Mr. Jenkins called me, voice trembling. "Kay, you'd better come in. Something's impossible here." I drove so fast, I nearly got a ticket. He spread new documents across his desk and pointed to my signature. Except I'd never signed them. Someone had tried to forge a transfer that would have emptied the entire trust into a brand new account overnight. "If this had gone through," he whispered, "you'd have woken up penniless." My stomach turned to ice. Who would do that to me? Tommy swore up and down it wasn't him. "We hired a private investigator named Bill out of Columbus." Weeks went by. Vanessa kept bringing casseroles, patting my hand, saying, "We're family, May. We'll find the monster who did this." But I started noticing how her eyes slid to the folder on my counter every single time. Then Bill called. "Mrs. Thompson, I traced the forgery. The IP address is registered to your son's home." I thought I would faint. That night, I confronted Tommy in his own living room. He cried, swore on his daddy's grave, begged me to believe him. The next morning, we all went to the bank together to open Harold's safety deposit box for the master trust copy. And that's when we found the hidden page nobody knew existed. Harold had added one last clause. Should any heir attempt to take the fortune by force or fraud, they forfeit everything to charity, unless May, in her sole judgment, chooses mercy. Tommy read it and went white as milk. "Dad never thought I was responsible enough," he whispered. I hugged him and told him we'd fix it together. I even gave Vanessa a diamond bracelet worth $10,000 worth for her birthday. "You're the daughter I always wanted close by," I said. She kissed my cheek so hard I felt lipstick for an hour. But after that, the visit slowed, then stopped. My birthday came. No call, no card. I ate cake alone with the candles crying wax onto the frosting. The loneliness crept back, worse than after Harold died. One evening, Vanessa showed up with a smile too wide and a thick stack of papers. "May, sweetheart, you're not getting any younger. Tommy and I found the perfect assisted living mansion in Dayton. You'll be so much safer. All we'll sell this old house, roll everything into investments we manage. You just sign here." It was full power of attorney. They would control every penny while I sat in a pastel prison playing bingo. I looked her in the eye and said, "No, darling, this is my home." Her face changed in a heartbeat. "You'll regret this," she hissed, and slammed my door so hard the windows rattled. That night I cried until my ribs hurt. But the very next morning my phone rang. "Sarah. Mom, I'm at the airport. Tommy drunk dialed me at 3 a.m. Something's bad wrong." She flew in, took one look at my face, and we marched straight to Mr. Jenkins. We were ready to fight, and that's when Tommy showed up at my door again. This time with 2 sheriff's deputies. "Mom, the court signed an emergency eviction. You have to leave today." Vanessa stood behind him in the driveway, smirking, like she already picked out new curtains. We went to court the following week. The Little Willow Creek courthouse was packed. Neighbors, old students, even the mayor. Mr. Jenkins laid out the forged documents, the IP trail, the power of attorney trick. The judge looked at Tommy and said, "Son, you better have a good explanation." Tommy started sweating. Vanessa kept whispering in his ear. Then Bill the investigator took the stand with fresh evidence. Overnight, someone using Vanessa's phone had tried to wire $20 million to an offshore account. The bank froze it 30 seconds too late for her, but just in time for me. Vanessa bolted for the side door. The bailiff caught her by the elbow. Tommy turned to her and said, voice cracking, "You used me?" The courtroom went dead silent. And that's when Mr. Jenkins asked to play the final piece, Harold's video will, that nobody knew existed. They wheeled in a TV. There was my Harold, thin and pale in his hospital gown, looking straight into the camera. "May, my love, if they ever try to take what's yours by greed instead of love, you have my blessing to cut them loose. But if they're still good in their hearts, give them one more chance. The money is only paper. Family is forever." Tommy dropped to his knees, right there in front of everybody, sobbing, "I failed you both." I walked over, lifted his face, and said, "You get one more chance, baby," but she doesn't. The judge ruled everything. The house, the trust, my freedom, stayed with me. Vanessa was let out in handcuffs. Tommy filed for divorce that same afternoon. Today, Sarah lives just 2 streets over. Tommy rebuilt his life, married a kind-hearted nurse named Emily, who calls me Mama May and brings me soup when I sneeze. I kept $10 million to live on very comfortably, thank you, and gave the rest away. Full-ride scholarships for every Willow Creek kid who wants college. A new community center with Harold's name over the door. And a little fund so no widow in this county ever eats birthday cake alone. From the deepest grief to $68 million. And then almost losing it all to the people I loved most. I learned money doesn't buy family, but betrayal can sure teach you who your real family is. So hold your loved ones close, forgive when you can, and stand your ground when you must. If this old auntie's story touched your heart, if it made you cry or cheer or hug your mama a little tighter tonight, then do me a favor. Hit that like button, share it with somebody who needs to hear that it's never too late for justice. And subscribe so you don't miss the next true tale from my rocking chair. There's a new one every week, and I save the best tears and triumphs just for you. This was my true story, from grief to glory. God bless every one of you, precious souls, and I'll see you real soon.